Well, when it comes to the money, women usually let the man take care of the checkbook and the bills, but in these tough economic times, it may not always be the better idea.
So with us this morning is financial advisor Robert Wilson to help explain why women can do a little bit better in the finance department. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, guys.
All right, so women tend to grow up or raised with the impression that they're maybe not as capable of handling the finances, or just kind of used to being into a pattern of watching their father maybe handle that. How can we break out of that, and what do you suggest for someone to kind of begin to take hold of their personal finances?
Well, I tell you what, there's no one-size-fits-all, method to retirement planning or trying to build wealth, and this is especially evident when you talk about the differences between men and women. And so I think the first thing you've got to do is really have a dialogue and think about the unique challenges that women face with their money, because I think they've unfortunately got to start a lot earlier and do a lot more planning because of those unique challenges.
Talk about the disparity in income between men and women and how that may play a role.
Well, certainly. I mean, the studies show that women on average earn about 78 cents on the dollar to which men earn. And so, I mean, they're already starting out, behind. But there is some help on the way. The very first bill that President Obama signed into law was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, which is designed to handle this type of discrimination. It makes it easier to go after your employer if this is a situation. And so things, are slowly but surely changing. But, that pay disparity is there and has been there for quite some time. And, even on top of that, if that pay gap disparity wasn't there, there's the fact that women on average spend about 11 years out of the workforce. And so if you count in salary and benefits and 401k match and so on and so forth, that can be upwards of $600,000 that they lose over that time, and that's a very conservative estimate.
Wow, that's pretty amazing to hear that all calculated there. Another challenge, Robert, that women could potentially face, becoming suddenly single, which a lot of women, I'm sure, are dealing with.
Of course, because of that upbringing, you tend to have women, maybe feel comfortable with saying, I'll just let my husband handle it. But the problem is women live a lot longer than men do, and with the divorce rate in this country, the odds are high that the woman is going to have to be responsible for her finances at some point. So I think it's very important for women to be engaged with the finances in the family, take part in the paying of the bills and looking at the situation, and also meet with the advisors, the CPA, the attorney, your financial advisor, because chances are, she may be the one that has to work with them in the future. And so you've got to take an active role very on with your finances.
And I notice here in the notes that you've got long-term care facilities, and they can be really, really expensive. And if you are a single lady and you end up in that way in your retirement years, that's going to deplete your retirement, wouldn't it?
That is a very significant issue that I think a lot of people don't consider. My mother actually spent over 10 years in a nursing home. She had multiple sclerosis, and we were just extremely fortunate that she had a very good plan at her employer, and so the burden was not that difficult on us. But that is a situation that women and men need to be mindful of, and you can put a long-term care plan in place. Because the average for a private room in a nursing home is about $75,000 a year. So that can be a significant drain to whatever retirement that you've been able to save up to that point.
And Robert, just time for one more question here. So we quickly want to address this. This is kind of the reverse situation of a few issues we were talking about. When the woman makes more than the man, could be sort of a point of contention, at least in some relationships.
Well, I feel like that point is actually an extension of the relationships and money that we talked about last time I was here. I mean, the male ego can be a little bit fragile, especially when it comes to who brings home the bacon. But I tell a lot of my guy friends, look, times are changing. You just got to toughen up and get over it. I mean, women are taking a lot more professional positions, starting businesses. And, I think it's supposed to be a partnership. She'll appreciate your contributions as much as you appreciate hers. But you've got to communicate and not let the outside influences take effect on your relationship, and I think you'll be okay.
Very, very great advice this morning, Robert, especially the long-term care issue. It's just really not something a lot of people think about. We thank you for your time, Robert.
Thank you.
Robert, thanks. I'd be high-fiving my wife if she's...
You got the good
right
job.
on.
All right. Still ahead this morning, another check of our top stories, including the latest in a shooting investigation from overnight.
Also going to